Gravity Falls built its identity on secrets. Pause the frame, crack the cipher, decode the hidden message. The show rewarded you for looking where it didn't explicitly tell you to look. Entire online communities formed around this practice. Wikis catalogued every cryptogram. Collaboration threads solved codes in hours that the show's creators assumed would take weeks. But here's the question that should trouble you. What if the show wasn't rewarding you? What if it was training you to think exactly like its villain? Gravity Falls premiered on Disney Channel in June 2012 before moving to Disney XD, running for 2 seasons and 40 episodes through February 2016. Created by Alex Hirsch, the show followed twins Dipper and Mabel Pines spending the summer with their great-uncle Stan in the fictional town of Gravity Falls, Oregon, where supernatural occurrences and hidden conspiracies lurked beneath a tourist trap facade. It aired as children's television, but children's television operating with an unprecedented commitment to serialized mythology and embedded puzzles. The Disney XD era of the early 2010s permitted more narrative continuity than earlier decades of children's programming, but the show still operated under the constraints of a network that needed episodes to function for casual viewers. The Cipher system became the bridge between these demands, a layer of engagement that rewarded dedication without alienating newcomers. Here's the argument. The Gravity Falls writing team, led by Alex Hirsch, designed Bill Cipher's Weirdmageddon plan as a dramatization of the audience's own compulsion to decode and uncover, making the show's most devoted viewers structurally analogous to Bill's followers within the narrative, and resolving this tension by having the finale defeat Bill through self-sacrifice rather than the secret knowledge the Ciphers trained viewers to seek. Bill's true plan isn't just to escape the town of Gravity Falls. It's to make you think like him, and the show knows it. Let me break this into 3 pieces. First, Bill Cipher was designed as a character who offers the same bargain the show itself offers. Bill's entire mode of operation is transactional. He appears when summoned, he grants knowledge or power in exchange for a favor, and he always frames the exchange as mutually beneficial while concealing the true cost. The episode depicts this structure most clearly in a sock opera, where Dipper, exhausted from searching for answers about the laptop, accepts Bill's offer, and the cost is Dipper's body and agency. The show's Cipher system functions on the same logic. You do the work, pausing frames, translating Caesar ciphers, consulting decoder rings shipped with the show's physical merchandise, and you receive hidden knowledge about mythology in return. The exchange feels rewarding. It feels like outsmarting the system. Alex Hirsch and the production team dedicated real resources to embedding codes that required collective internet effort to crack. This wasn't a peripheral feature. The ciphers were thematically integrated. They didn't just contain Easter eggs. They revealed information about Bill, about Ford, about the nature of the show's universe that was diegetically relevant. The design philosophy treated the audience as participants, and Bill is the character who makes the same offer: participate, and I'll give you what you want. Second, Bill's Weirdmageddon plan to escape the boundaries of Gravity Falls mirrors what the audience was already doing. Bill doesn't simply want to cause chaos in one small Oregon town. His explicit goal in the Weirdmageddon arc is to break through the supernatural barrier surrounding Gravity Falls and spread his reality-distorting influence across the entire dimension. He wants to escape the narrative container. The audience was already performing this escape, breaking through the show's surface narrative to access its hidden layers, treating each episode as a container with secrets buried inside waiting to be extracted. Bill's followers within the show, the townspeople who join him during Weirdmageddon, are depicted as people who accepted his deals, who traded something of themselves for power or knowledge or relief from their problems. And here is where you need to sit with the implications. The show's most engaged fans, the ones who dedicated hours to cracking codes and compiling wikis, were enacting the same logic as Bill's in-universe cult. The pattern suggests this isn't accidental parallelism. The structural analogy is too precise, and it extends too consistently across Bill's characterization and the show's engagement mechanics to be coincidence alone. So what we have is this: the show built an engagement system that functions like Bill's deal-making, and Bill's narrative plan mirrors the audience's engagement behavior. The evidence from the text consistently supports this reading, and the documented creative intent behind the Cipher system confirms that the parallel wasn't incidental. The show knew what it was doing when it trained you to decode. Third, the finale's resolution repudiates the cipher hunting logic the show cultivated. This is the most critical piece, and it's entirely visible in the broadcast text. Weirdmageddon ends not with Dipper solving a puzzle, not with Mabel cracking a code, not with any character using hidden knowledge to defeat Bill. It ends with Stanley Pines pretending to be his brother Ford, tricking Bill into entering Stan's mind, and then having Stan's memory erased to destroy Bill from within. Stan defeats Bill through deception, Bill's own method, but in service of love and sacrifice rather than domination. The knowledge seeker, Dipper, is sidelined. The cipher master, Ford, is captured. The episode depicts a victory that comes from the character who spent the entire series concealing the truth, running scams, and performing deception, but who deploys those skills here to protect his family. The industrial context makes this choice more significant. Children's television in the Disney XD era rarely rewarded obsessive engagement with anything other than more content to consume. Gravity Falls could have concluded with a triumphant code-cracking moment that validated years of puzzle solving. Instead, it concluded with a con man's sacrifice that no cipher could have predicted. Now, the charitable reading. You could argue this is simply good character writing. Stan's arc demands a redemptive sacrifice, and the deception trick is a satisfying callback to his history as a grifter. The ciphers were engagement mechanics that kept fans talking between episodes. The parallel between Bill and the audience is coincidental, an emergent property of a show about secrets that also contain secrets. Bill's fourth wall breaks were comedic flourishes, not structural commentary. The finale's resolution was about completing character arcs, not making a metatextual argument. This reading has genuine merit. The practical explanation for the ciphers is that they were a marketing tool. They generated online discussion, kept the show visible between episodes, and created community investment that benefited ratings. The practical explanation for the finale is that it provided emotional closure for the Pines family. Neither requires a metatextual thesis. But here's where the pattern exceeds what practical explanations can comfortably account for simultaneously. The cipher system wasn't just a marketing tool, it was thematically integrated into the mythology. Bill's deal-making structure mirrors the audience's engagement structure with specific precision. The finale didn't just complete character arcs, it specifically and deliberately denied the knowledge seekers the victory while rewarding the character whose defining trait was love disguised as deception. Multiple independent design choices converge on the same reading. That doesn't make it certain, but it makes it substantially more plausible than coincidence. No production record documents Hirsch or the writing team explicitly stating that Bill was designed as a meta-commentary on the audience. This reading argues from pattern and industrial context, and I want to be honest about the epistemic ceiling. Without a direct statement of intent, this remains an argument from converging evidence rather than documented creative decision. What would change this reading is precisely that kind of documentation. Hirsch stating that Bill was not designed with any metatextual awareness of the audience's cipher hunting, or records showing the cipher system was purely a network marketing decision with no thematic intent behind it. If this thesis is correct, here's what it reveals about the creative and industrial conditions that produced this work. Gravity Falls was operating within a specific moment in children's television, the early 2010s, when internet fandom was becoming a collaboratively decoding machine, when shows could embed puzzles that will be solved communally within hours of airing. The show used that capability to build an engagement system, but it also understood something about that system, that the compulsion to uncover secrets can become its own kind of trap, its own kind of deal with the devil. The show's relationship with its audience was more honest than most children's television. It trained you in a behavior, and then showed you the cost of that behavior in the form of a villain who represents it taken to its logical extreme. This isn't a general statement about how dark children's media secretly is. It's a specific observation about what a show can do when it's aware of how its audience consumes it, when it treats the viewer as a participant whose participation has consequences within the narrative itself. When you watch animation, or any collaborative narrative product shaped by writers, networks, and production constraints, ask yourself, who made this decision, under what constraints, and what does that tell me about what I'm being trained to do? Gravity Falls embedded ciphers because a creative team chose to dedicate resources to rewarding obsessive engagement. It built a villain who offers the same bargain. It resolved its story by telling you that the obsession the show cultivated was not, in the end, the thing that saves you. The question this opens isn't whether Bill's true plan was to escape Gravity Falls. It's whether you noticed you were already helping him, and whether, after Weirdmageddon, you stopped.